Hi, and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Bryndís, and I like to read. I read quite a lot. I think I just finished my 100th book for the year, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, so hi. I have been in the last several days on my Christmas holiday, my winter break, and basically all I've done is eat and read. And I'm going to talk about the books that I've been reading lately. The last time I talked to you about my reading it's been quite a while. I didn't have a video last week because I was just not having it. And the week before that, I think I had like my plans for 2026. So it's been a while. And since then, I finished all of the Lord of the Ring books. So I think last time I talked to you, I was in The Return of the King. And I'm not counting those books, I think I've already said as well, I'm not counting those books as read because I wasn't reading the entirety of the books. I was reading like selected snippets, and I realized when I was like in the middle of the Lord of the Return of the King, I realized that this time around, this is like, I've read these books several times. So this time around, I was actually reading the story of Merry and Pippin. And it was lovely. I really loved it. And I mean, Andy Serkis narrating the Lord of the Rings books is a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece in a certain way of narrating books. Obviously, if you don't like the kind of where he like goes into the characters with different accents and different voices, you're not gonna like it. But if you like a little bit of a performance in your narration in audiobooks, you have to read, like listen to Andy Serkis. He is, I feel like he is just on the, he's on a second, like a different level than normal people. And I realized this when I don't remember if it's in The Return of the King or if it was in The Two Towers. So, who was it? Someone was saying something that Pippin had said. So Pippin has this Scottish accent, right? I think Dominic Monaghan is the actor, and I definitely, the narration by Andy Serkis is definitely influenced by the books, not by the movies, by Peter Jackson. And you can just hear you can just hear Dominic Monaghan. I feel like whenever Andy Serkis is using, like, if Boromir sounds like Sean Bean, Frodo sounds like Elijah Wood. I love that because I love the movies. But it was really, really extraordinary when Andy Serkis was speaking as Pippin, who was speaking as, I think, Gandalf or Boromir or someone. And you could hear, let's just say that he was saying something that Boromir had said. Let's just say that because I can't remember who he was. Like, Pippin was telling a story and he was like pretending to speak as someone else. And let's say that was Boromir, and so you could hear Pippin trying to speak like Sean Bean, so you could hear a little bit of Sean Bean, but through Pippin, Dominic Monaghan, but it was Andy Serkis. It was just like, mind blown, people. But yeah, I had the best time listening to those books. But the book that I had already finished when I did my last video, but I didn't talk about, was Anxious People. I do have the physical copy of that at home. As you can see, I'm not at home, or maybe you can't. I'm not at home. I'm at my parents' house in their guest bedroom / library. Try to create this kind of book nook here behind me, but they have a lot of books. My dad is maybe not as much, but he used to be, both of them, avid readers. And so that's the background here. Anxious People, I have the physical copy, but I did listen to the audiobook. And Anxious People is by Fredrik Backman. So basically it is a bank robber comes into this apartment where there is like a viewing, like someone is trying to sell the apartment and there are a lot of people there for the viewing. The bank robber comes in and takes them hostage. And so it's the story of the different characters in the apartment that are being held, kidnapped. The bank robber, you kind of realize their story, the police officers, and there are a lot of characters, and then it's like the resolution of what happened in the apartment and in the bank robbery and all of those things. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is my second Fredrik Backman. And I will say that there are heavy themes. There is suicide as a theme, which was also a theme in A Man Called Ove. There is loneliness and just this sense of, just not being connected with other people, human beings. So those are really big themes. And it is quite emotionally heavy. For me, it was definitely not as heavy as A Man Called Ove. But it was still very emotionally heavy. It made me cry. But Fredrik Backman has this way of doing things. Just, it's a gift, I think, as well. Like there's so much humor and it's so funny at times. But just underneath there's like this silk paper layer of humor, and then underneath it is this volcano of emotions and horribleness. And it's just very good. 5 stars, like so good. So good. Yes, so that one I finished like earlier in December. And then, so after I had finished The Return of the King, and I was like, well, I want to listen to something else. And I was still like working. It was before Christmas, so I was still working, and I just didn't feel like reading physically anything. Because I did bring with me here my 2 ongoing books, Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell and A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. But I didn't want to read, I want to read these books, but I wasn't in the mood to read something physically. So I was like trying to figure out what I could read as an audiobook. And I really want to get back to my Charles Dickens project, but I was like, no, you cannot read another Charles Dickens until January. I'm trying not to read it too fast, like I'm trying to savor Charles Dickens. So I read my last Charles Dickens in November, and so I'm reading him every other month. And so, okay, let's try to find another classic. So I was just like looking, I didn't know what to read. And then Debs at Rainer Reads tagged me actually quite a while ago in her Secret Santa tag, which is a fantastic tag. And it's basically so you're gifting people your books, basically recommending books to people as your Secret Santa gift. And she recommended for me or gifted me As We Live Now or something like that by Anthony Trollope. And I was like, Anthony Trollope, I've been wanting to read Anthony Trollope for a while, but I I also kind of wanted to not rush into him and maybe read the more famous Victorian authors first. So I hadn't started with him, but I thought, I want to read this book. It's a standalone, it would be perfect. But I didn't have it as an audiobook. And I'm here in my hometown. They might have it at the library, but I don't have a library card here. So anyway, I didn't have access to it. So I started to look into other Anthony Trollopes. And of course there is the series something. Can't remember the name of the series. But the first book is The Warden. And I had that as an audiobook with a narrator that I really like. So I started to listening to that. The Warden by Anthony Trollope. The first book in the Worcestershire, something like that, series. I think there are 7 or 8 books in that series. Oh, it's fantastic. I really loved it. 5 stars. I immediately enjoyed his style of writing. And it's definitely very Victorian, I think, but it's not like Charles Dickens, but a little bit. And it's not like Elizabeth Gaskell, but a little bit. I love that book. So I'm definitely going to be continuing on with that series. But again, I'm not in a hurry. Like, I'm just gonna take my time with that. I have all the books as audiobooks with the same narrator. If I remember, I will put the narrator on the screen. I think it was something Vance. Sorry, they are taking the trash here outside my window. If you can hear any like noise. But anyway, The Warden. So what it's about is the Warden is one of the main characters, and he is I think he's a type of priest, like a minister, pastor or something, whatever it's called. But he's like the warden of this hospital where 12 elderly men live, and there's a trust to kind of keep these elderly. These are kind of poor men who don't have anywhere else to be, and they're being taken care of there at the hospital. Like they get some little bit of money for food and like board and whatever. And he is the warden of this place, but he doesn't really do anything. So the job is basically, I think that he goes there and does he play the cello? I think he plays the cello, if I remember correctly. So he goes there sometimes to play the cello, but that's basically all he does. And he has 2 daughters. One of his daughters is older and she's married with, I think, already 5 children or something. And her husband is a deacon, archdeacon or something like that. I don't know quite the titles of the English church. But, and his father is a bishop. I remember that. And then he has a younger daughter who's just around 20, just over 20. And she lives with him and is in love with this guy. And then there's this drama of this possible corruption of him having a large living from this trust, taking care of these 12 men, but he doesn't really do anything. And there's like the scandal of him having too high of a salary for not really doing anything, and it being against the will of the guy that set up the trust, something like that. So there's a lot of drama and like people trying to keep their power and keep their money, but also people wanting to be fair and honest. And yeah, the story is really good and the characters are fantastic and I really enjoyed it. It's a really heartfelt, a lovely story, and yeah, I loved it very much. And I look forward to continuing on with Anthony Trollope. I kind of knew that I would like Anthony Trollope. I follow Katie at Books and Things here, and definitely other people who have been reading Trollope, and she loves him, and I basically love almost everything Katie loves, all the books, all the authors. So yeah, I'm very happy that I've dipped my toe into Anthony Trollope, and I will definitely be continuing on with that. But then the rest of the books are the books that I got for Christmas. So I got 4 books for Christmas, all Icelandic crime books. Except, no, one of them is not crime. So I got 3 crime thriller, crime, yeah, I think they're all thrillers, basically. I've already read 2 of them. So these are obviously in Icelandic, and I don't think they are new books published for the Christmas book flood here in Iceland. So I don't think they've been translated yet, but all of these authors have been translated into a lot of the languages. So you can definitely find these authors and probably these books in a few months. The first book that I read is by Yrsa, Sigurðardóttir. It's called, basically the name is Syndafall in Icelandic, which is the fall of man. It's the word used in the Bible for when Adam and Eve were ejected from the Garden of Eden. So it's basically, falling from grace or whatever. I don't know. It would be interesting to see how they will actually translate this book, the title. But it's really good. It's very mysterious. There are like 3 I think there are 3 plots with different characters. So you go between, in each chapter, you go between the 3 kind of POVs, basically. And then, they merge at the end. And they seem to be completely unconnected and have nothing in common. But she does it brilliantly. There is suspense and thrilling element. There is obviously a murder mystery, but there's also this kind of personal tragedy mystery type of a thing. This is one of her. Yrsa is on the top 2 or 3 of my favorite Icelandic crime authors at the moment, and mostly I like her books. Mostly, they are what they are. They are thrillers, crime mysteries, Nordic noir, or whatever you want to call them. But often there's some supernatural element to them, and she just does this very well. And I always like them. Sometimes I really love them. This one I gave it 5 stars because I think it's one of her best. I feel like in the past few years they've been okay. I've enjoyed them for sure, but this one is definitely in the top 10, I think, of her books. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm very glad, because I was starting to worry that she might have lost her touch or burnt out or something. But yeah, excellent book. And then the other book that I got for Christmas that I've read, there is a Nordic noir crime, is by Eva Björg Ægisdóttir, and this is All the Little Lies. And this was also, I was a little bit nervous because she has a series with a police detective and her husband. They kind of also police detective. They got to know it. They kind of were working together first, and now they're married. They have children. I've been following them for several years as they got to know each other and built their personal relationship in this small town just outside of Reykjavik, but also were investigating horrible murders. But this one is completely different. It does not have those characters. It does not take place in that town, but it's really good. Very good. I think this was my favorite. It's my favorite so far. I think Eva Björg is becoming I think she's actually now at the moment my favorite Icelandic crime author. I will say that I have not read Hildur Knútsdóttir or Lilja Sigurðardóttir, who are also very good crime novelists. I need to read them, but this was really good. This book I read in one day. I started reading it in the morning and I finished it by dinner. This one I started reading on Christmas Eve night, night before Christmas, and I finished it on Christmas Day. Christmas Day evening, or late evening on Christmas Day evening, because Christmas Day was a busy day, but I'm very happy with these books. And then another book that I got as well that I've read, which is not it's a ghost story. This is a novella by Ragnar Jónasson, and this was disappointing. It was still okay. It wasn't bad. I think his writing was good, and I thought the plot was very interesting, but it's barely a ghost story. It's barely. I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to read, because he sometimes writes phenomenal books. And I was really excited to read a really scary book. It's a novella. I was like, oh, it's a ghost. They live in like an old house, which is basically like this house that my parents live in. We call them old Norwegian houses with like corrugated iron. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna be so scared. It's gonna be so great. But no, I feel like this is a YA book. This is something that I would have loved when I was 13. But yeah, it wasn't scary. Really, there was one part in the book where I was like, yes, now it's gonna be scary. But then it wasn't. The ghost was very so unfortunately, this was not a success. He did publish another book with as a co-writer, the two of them, which is getting a very good reviews. So I'm gonna need to figure out how I can read that book. Probably gonna be an audiobook soon. But this one was 3 stars. It was okay. It wasn't bad at all. Like I wanted to finish to know how the story ended, and I think the ending was really interesting and kind of cool. How it tied into something that happened, like for real here in Iceland and in the world, really. But the ghost was just very, yeah. So, and then those are the books that I've read. Basically, the Warden, Anxious People, and then the 3 of these. And I'm currently reading, obviously, Samantha Shannon and Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. I did also get this book for Christmas, which is Stefán Máni, The Holy Pain. I don't know how you would translate this. It's one of his series with the detective that he writes. I've kind of gone off of this author, so I haven't decided if I might actually. I have like this note sticker here so I could go and exchange it, and then just maybe listen to it as an audiobook later on. I haven't decided, but I'm very grateful that I got the book, but I might take it back and just get a couple of Agatha Christie's instead for my collection. So I don't know. I will let you know what I do. You will know. But the books that I'm reading now, so I'm reading, this is also an Icelandic crime. Thrillers, crime, murder, and mayhem is Christmas in my book. Like that's what I like to read for Christmas. Christmas, like romances or like cute books for Christmas, I don't need those. No. Murder, mass murder, torture. That's what I like for Christmas. But this is Arnaldur Indriðason, who is one of it says here, the godfather of Icelandic crime. I think that's a very good description. So you can see a picture of him here. And this is in one of his series that he has with a detective. The detective in this series is retired. His name is Conrad. This is my dad got this book, and I think I've started reading it. I started reading it yesterday, just kind of gotten a couple of chapters in, and I think I'm gonna finish it in a couple of days. So that would be interesting. I will tell you all about it. I have no idea exactly. Well, I know what it's about, but Tál, it means like seduction or something like that. So it will be, I'm currently reading that. And then the other book that I'm currently reading as an audiobook is very interesting. I was watching TV with my parents the other night, and there was this kind of documentary about Vera, the TV series. And because I think they are just starting to show the last season here in Iceland. I think it's the 14th season or something. And so they did this, and it's going to be the last season. And they did this documentary talking to the actors and la la la. I have never watched any of those episodes in the series. And I was thinking like, maybe I should read Vera, the books, because there are a lot of books in this series, or I don't know how many, but it's a series of books with Vera something as the main detective, and it takes place in northern England. I'm sure most of you know about this, but I've never watched the movies, I've never read the books. I've heard about it, I've known about it, but I haven't done it. So that's what I did. So the audiobook that I have going now is The Crowd Trap, which is the first book in the Vera Dunlop series. Yeah. And I think I'm starting to be at the halfway point. I think Vera has finally made her appearance. I was like, where is this woman? What is happening? But I thought it was really interesting how they did. So I feel like there are these three main characters, three women who are working as these kind of surveyors of, I don't know exactly what they are doing. They're counting birds, plants, and mammals. No. Yeah, I think it's bird and mammals and then plants. And in this area somewhere in northern England, and because there is I think a mining company or something wants to do something, and whether that means that area will be flooded, I don't remember exactly what the situation is, but anyway, they are doing a surveillance of the area to see if it's too precious nature-wise, or if it can be ruined, basically, or something like that. If they can give that permission to that company to do what they want to do. And then, of course, someone gets murdered, someone commits suicide. It's, but the way that she does it is that the first part of the book is from this one person's point of view. Is it Rachel? Can't remember her name. She's how well I'm paying attention. And then there is Anne, and her point of view. And then there is Claire and her point of view. I think that those are the names, but there are three women. And so you kind of go back in time and then back into like when that happens, the murder or whatever. And then we have now finally Vera. Vera, I feel like, was introduced a little bit like a hobbit. She's like came in, there was like raining and muddy, and she came in there with like bare legs. I think she was wearing shorts or like a skirt with bare legs, sandals, and muddy feet. She sounded like and the way she was like sturdy and like, she sounded like a hobbit to me. But I'm really enjoying it. And I think it's a excellent story. And that's what I'm reading at the moment. Those two books, this one, and then the Vera book. And I will say that it's been so nice to be on a break. This is my first ever that I have not had to work in the days between Christmas and the New Year. Because obviously in the last several years I've been doing a PhD, and I've also been, before I started working at the university where I work now, I was working in early childhood. I'm a preschool teacher. That's my basic learning background. And that those don't close here in Iceland between Christmas and New Year. So I always had to work 1 or 2 days, in that week, in that Twixmix week. So I feel like this is the first time ever since I was a child that I have no work. There is no work. I've been able to I will take 12 days off in total. Oh my God, it's so lovely. It's very lovely, very lovely. And so I've been reading a lot, obviously. I feel like on Boxing Day, on the 27th and the 28th, I barely moved from my bed and my couch. I have a sofa bed and I turn it into a sofa during the day. I just lay there, sit there and read. It's been brilliant. It's been so nice. It's been so nice. And I still have several days to go. So next time you see me next week, I will be back home, and I will talk to you about the books that I'm currently reading and what I thought about them. And then I think probably the video after that, in 2 weeks' time, I will probably start to do like a best of, my top 5 maybe, or something like that. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But I'm very excited for the new year and just my new life post PhD, and things are quite lovely here in my little corner of the world. I think that's more than enough from me today. Icelandic crime, it's pretty good. You should check it out. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've also been able to take time off for the holidays, or whether you celebrate or not, or that you are also reading something interesting and fun. Do you read, what do you like? What is Christmas to you, like when in regards to reading? For me, it's crime and fantasy, Lord of the Rings in particular. What about you? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.